Hi there, Jacqueline Hawkins here with Women's Hockey Life. I want to welcome you to today's presentation. As you can see from the title, today we're going to talk about women's hockey recruiting and the 5 steps to controlling the process and earning scholarship money. So it's really great to have you here, and I know you've probably been on some other presentations or webinars where there's a lot of, preamble and they play some games and they tell stories and there's all this stuff and you're just like, okay, that's great, that's awesome, but I want to get to the real good stuff. Well, that's the way I like to run my presentations. So what I'm going to do, I hope you don't mind, is just dive right in because I have some really fantastic content for you today. Right, so who's this for? This presentation is for any female hockey player or parents of who plays on a competitive team and is looking to play in university at the NCAA Division I or Division III level and needs help finding some scholarship money. So if you guys want to take control of the recruiting process and earn scholarship money, this is for you. And if you need help navigating that process in any shape or form, and you need that help now, then pay very close attention because this is going to be the best 20 minutes you spend trying to understand the recruiting process. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you how to get an edge on your competitors, how to create a game plan to navigate the recruiting process from beginning to end, how to find the perfect university that suits you and your needs, even if you have no idea where to start, how to find 5 figures worth of scholarship money without taking academics or hockey into the equation, and how to get yourself in front of coaches for maximum exposure. Does that sound good? Okay, awesome. Here's my promise to you. In this presentation, I'm going to give you a step-by-step strategy on how to navigate the recruiting process and earn scholarship money. I know that sounds crazy right now, but stick around with me until the end because I'm going to show you the exact process for making that happen. But first, players, does this sound like you? Do you secretly feel like you're just as skilled and talented as your teammate, but she's getting all the attention from college coaches or has already committed and you have no idea how she's doing it? Do you stress out thinking about sending an email or picking up a phone to call a college coach? Do you sometimes feel embarrassed that you don't understand what the recruiting process is, let alone where to start? Parents, what about you guys? Does this sound like you? Do you often find yourself saying, well, she's good enough, college coaches will find her, and yet no coaches have contacted her? Do you awkwardly sit in silence at the rink as parents chat all around you about how their daughter's talking to this coach or that coach or, is committed to this school or that school, and you just pray that they don't ask you? Are you still trying to figure out how the recruiting process works so you can actually help your daughter? And some nights, do you wake up in the middle of the night and wonder, how will I ever afford to send my daughter to university without taking out a second mortgage? Do you just feel like you've already missed out on the opportunity to play hockey in college? If any of that sounds like you, then I have some great news. None of those things that we just talked about are the real problem. Those are just the symptoms. The real problem is what I call the shifts. And we're going to talk about what those are in just a second, okay? But for right now, just know this. Once you make them, you'll have complete control over the recruiting process, knowing when to start, how to communicate with coaches, and you'll do it with confidence. You'll know multiple ways to get in front of coaches so that you can showcase your skills. You'll understand exactly what every coach wants out of their players and how to give it to them. You'll know how to find scholarship money so that finances are never the reason you don't attend the school of your dreams. And you'll do all this while tapping back into the joy you had when you first picked up a hockey stick. Now, before we get too much further, let me take a second to introduce myself so you know who I am and why you should listen to me. I am the president and owner of womenshockeylife.com, the go-to resource for everything women's hockey related. I earned a full scholarship to attend the University of Connecticut for all 4 years. I've coached at the NCAA Division I level for 5 years. I've been a director of player and organizational development with a youth hockey program for 2.5 years. I've played professionally in Switzerland and for the Boston Blades of the Canadian Women's Hockey League, and my specialty is helping players and families navigate the recruiting process. All right, so let me tell you how I discovered the 5 shifts. I've been doing this for a really long time, from living it personally as a player to helping families at the youth level to touring high school players and their families around a university campus as an NCAA coach. I began to notice a trend as far as who made it and who didn't. So over time, I started to look at, those top achievers, what they were doing that other players weren't. And I gradually realized that there are 5 things that those top superstars, the future collegiate players, what they were doing that everyone else wasn't. I then started to incorporate these shifts with the players and families I was helping, and immediately new opportunities were presenting themselves for those players. Player self confidence was just going through the roof. Doors open that these players never knew existed. Amazing things were happening. So the bottom line is this: there are 5 key shifts you must make to take control of the recruiting process and end up playing hockey in college while earning scholarship money. And I'm going to walk you through all 5 of them on this session. The first shift is master your mindset. Right? So we're talking about the mental side of the game here. You probably spend so much money on trainers and coaches to improve your on-ice skills, right? But let me ask you this: how much have you spent on working on your mental fitness training? That's what I thought. This shift right here is the most important shift. If you can't control your mindset, your beliefs, and your daily habits, nothing else matters. Without this, everything falls apart. All right, so there are 2 types of mindsets. Okay, the first one is a fixed mindset, where you accept the basic qualities and traits as they are instead of developing them. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is where you believe that your basic abilities are just the starting point and that they can be developed through dedication and hard work. The fixed mindset is the most common and the most harmful, so it's worth understanding how it affects you. For example, in a fixed mindset, you stick with what you know. You stick to what you know so that you can keep your confidence up. But in a growth mindset, you keep up your confidence by always pushing outside of your comfort zone to make sure you're always learning. Okay, if I were to apply this example to hockey, let's say you have an amazing wrist shot, okay, but your skating is average or maybe a bit below average. In a fixed mindset, you would stay after practice to work on your shot, what you're good at and what gives you confidence. But in a growth mindset, you'd be staying after practice to work on your skating because you already know that your shot is great, it's your strength. But if you want to get better and get to that next level, you have to get outside your comfort zone and turn a weakness into a strength, which will continue to build your confidence. And at the end of the day, coaches want players who have confidence. Players who believe in themselves and are willing to do what's necessary to get better every single day. And you know what? The most talented players, they never make it as far as they should for one reason and one reason only. It's their mindset, right? It's the most common thing that holds players back from greatness. The good news, the mindset itself is not fixed. You can change your mindset just by thinking it through. But if you don't, you're limiting yourself from getting to that next level. Which actually brings me to the second shift, which is the DNA of recruiting. Okay, so there are 3 reasons why you know very little about the recruiting process. The first is that it's your first time going through it, right? The second, there's not a ton of information out there for you. And the third, some of you have tried it on your own and you've even used other services to help you, but you're no further along. So why is it important to know the NCAA rules and how the recruiting process works? Well, for starters, it will tell you when, where, and how often coaches can communicate with you. It will tell you how to stay eligible and meet those NCAA clearinghouse requirements. And you will even understand why and how players in grade 9 and 10 are already committing to schools. Okay, once you understand them, doors will open and you will actually feel good about the recruiting process and be ready to tackle it head on. But if you don't, you'll be stuck in the old way of recruiting instead of the new way. Okay, now let me explain what I mean by old versus new way. Let's talk real quick about the old way of doing things, right? The old way of navigating the recruiting process. How did you do it? You ask your neighbor down the street who had a daughter go through it 8 years ago and hope that they remember what they did and can give you some tips and pointers, right? Or you spend hours researching what you think you need to know, and more times than not, you end up more confused than when you started. Or you hope you have a coach who's helped someone else in the past and can do the same for your daughter. This is what I call the cross your fingers approach. The problem with all this is that it's cold and it's dead, and it only gives you bits and pieces of the process. So when you do it the old way, you might get 25% of it right, but you'll never truly know what you're supposed to do without the remaining pieces. But there is a new way. You ready for this? The new way is to learn everything you'll ever need to know and be armed with all the tools you'll ever need in a simple 6-week online course. If you can learn it all in 6 weeks and have the guidance of former NCAA coaches to help you, why wouldn't you? Right? They know and understand the NCAA rules and the recruiting process as a whole better than anyone. They can even answer your questions about scholarships and financial aid, which brings me to the third shift. Use the secret weapon. Less than 1% of you listening to this right now will receive a fully funded athletic scholarship. Okay? According to the IIHF, right now there are over 160,000 registered female hockey players in the US and Canada. Right? This doesn't include European players. Right? And there are less than 500 full athletic scholarships available in the NCAA. So it's no secret that university is expensive, right? We all know that. It's also now not a secret that 1% of Canadians and Americans playing hockey will earn a full ride athletic scholarship. Knowing all this now, what do we do? Well, there are in fact hundreds of scholarships out there that don't require you to be an all-star hockey player or straight A student. Their requirements are determined from criteria that is out of your control. You either have it or you don't. There is no gray area. Obtaining these scholarships will lessen the financial stress of paying for university significantly. All right, so I want to tell you a story about Mary. She came to us looking for help to pay for college. She was on a partial athletic scholarship, but was still in need of about $10,000. So we worked with Mary, gathered all the information that we needed, and got back to her with, you ready for this? $52,000 worth of scholarships she could apply for. $52,000. If you can't find these scholarships and you're not part of that 1% and you have to pay for college, it is going to be very tough on your wallet. However, finding and obtaining these scholarships will ease that burden. All right, so let's do a quick recap of what we've gone over already. At this point, we know that we must master our mindset. We must understand the DNA of recruiting, and we must use the secret weapon, finding scholarship money, to take control of the process. Okay. Now let's kind of look ahead at how to market ourselves while creating more opportunities to get seen without losing our minds. Our fourth shift is to market yourself. Okay. If you rely on someone else to do the work for you, you will never succeed. Okay. What do I mean by that? If you want to play college hockey, you can't just sit back and hope that coaches notice you. You have to be your own biggest fan and market yourself and pick up the phone and call the coaches and send them emails and get in front of them in as many ways as possible. Okay? You have to take control. If you don't, your opponent will, and it could be the difference between who gets that final spot on a college roster. Okay, so you're probably asking, great, that's awesome, but how do you do that? Well, the first step is to know what your academic and athletic goals are. Do you want to play for your national team one day? Do you want to graduate from college summa cum laude? Knowing what you want, knowing your goals, that will help dictate where you need to go. It will put a game plan into action. Okay? The second step is to compile all your academic and athletic information in one place. Okay? Coaches are busy. They don't have the time to sift through all the emails you send with documents and PDFs and videos attached. And then if they need to reference them a week or month later, let's just hope they didn't delete it by accident, right? They want a snapshot of who you are with the essential need-to-know information all in one place. So this is Caitlin before she came to us. Caitlin was spending way too much time on Google researching universities. Caitlin knew she wanted to play at an NCAA university, either D1 or D3. She wanted to attend a small school, and she wanted to be in a city. Okay, she didn't know how to research schools that met those criteria or how to even create a list from it. So by not knowing how to search for schools with those criteria, it put restrictions on Caitlin's time. Right? She was spending about 2 hours a day researching every university. She would then research if that university had women's hockey, and so on and so on. She was doing this every day. So think about that. 2 hours a day, 7 days a week is 14 hours per week she was on Google. All right, if you times that by 4 weeks, and in 1 month, Caitlin could easily spend 56 hours researching. When Caitlin came to us, we had her create a player profile. She put it in the criteria she wanted, and out came a list of schools that were small, in a city, and at an NCAA university. In less than 5 minutes, she had created her first list. On top of that, every NCAA coach was able to view all her academic and athletic information that was compiled on her player profile. She even had video footage coaches could watch. The fifth and final shift is to invest in mentoring. Right? I strongly believe that everyone should have a mentor. Mentoring brings two things: new ideas and accountability. Okay? There are new ideas in your head right now that would not have been there if you didn't make time for this presentation. A good mentor will give you great ideas and make sure that you act on them. A great mentor will also put together a powerful group of people all working towards similar goals. This multiplies everyone's effectiveness exponentially. And they're great because they've personally been in your shoes and truly know what it takes to get to where you want to go. They will tell you what it takes as a player to get to that next level, and they will tell you how to get in front of coaches for maximum exposure because they've been a coach themselves. Right? So your mindset dictates everything you do in your life, every day. We talked about that earlier, right? What you believe in will then dictate your actions, and based on those actions, what you did or didn't do will determine your outcome. Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions. How many coaches have recruited you in the last month? And how happy are you with how the recruiting process is going right now? If you're not happy, you need a new mindset, a new plan, and accountability, right? You need a mentor. Okay, so today I promised to show you, how to get an edge on your competitors, how to create a game plan to navigate the recruiting process, how to find the perfect university that suits you and your needs, even if you have no idea where to start, how to find 5 figures worth of scholarship money without taking academics or hockey into the equation, and how to get yourself in front of coaches for maximum exposure. Okay, all of these can easily be accomplished by following the 5 shifts, right? By mastering your mindset, knowing the DNA of recruiting, using the secret weapon, being finding scholarship money, marketing yourself, and investing in a mentor. These 5 shifts alone are enough for you to take control of the recruiting process and earn scholarship money. So now you have a choice. You can either take the information I've given you and you can forget all about it. You can keep on struggling to figure out which tournaments and showcases you need to attend and wasting a ton of money doing so. You can keep banging your head against the wall trying to figure out how to market yourself and get in front of as many coaches as possible. You can go into debt paying for 4 years of college at a ridiculous price. Or you can hire me, an expert who has dedicated my entire life to helping women and parents just like you navigate the recruiting process, get into the college of your dreams and land scholarship money. How can I help? Well, my team and I have set aside some time in the next couple of days to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas to your current recruiting situation. We will discuss how to craft a step-by-step game plan to get you crystal clear on 3 things. 1, your university goal, so that you know how to search for and narrow down your list. Your hockey goals, so that you can articulate them to university coaches and find the right one who will support you. And the best way to reach them, so you have a game plan that works for you and makes perfect sense. Whatever your biggest challenges are in the recruiting process, we've seen it and we know how to overcome it. But here's the thing, this is not for everyone. You must be absolutely committed to hitting your athletic and academic goals with total integrity. And you must play on a competitive hockey team and be in good academic standing. If that's you, please book a call now. We've been in your shoes and we've already lived our dream, and it's now time to give back to help you live yours. It's that simple. And once we get on the phone with you and determine if it's a good fit for both of us, maybe you'll hire me to help you navigate the recruiting process. For right now, what I need you to do is write down the URL on your computer screen, or take a picture of it with your cell phone, or take a screenshot of it. Just whatever you do, make sure you write it down and then go to that link. Once you do, you will be taken to our calendar page. You're going to see all the available appointment times and just grab whichever one works for you. After that, you'll be taken to a really short application page. It's like 4 or 5 questions. Fill it in real quick and we will get on the call with you at the appointment time that you picked. Okay? Guys, it's been fantastic being able to share this information with you. Please go to that link listed on your computer screen. And I can't wait to get on the phone with you, get to know you, and see how we can help. All right, guys? Take care.